How we doing, Heat Nation? Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Excited, blessed, and happy because God woke me up for another day. It's like I tell you guys, every day that God wakes me up, I can handle anything. Keep the same mentality with you guys. Positivity over you guys. Off we go on another Miami Heat Talk adventure. I'm excited because we are not talking about Damian Lillard today. Hallelujah. Now, for those of you that want an update about Damian Lillard, go ahead and check my last two videos. Not only do I give updates, but I give a complete breakdown on trade packages, let you guys know exactly what's going on. There's no updates to talk about right now, so this makes me happy because we get to move on and talk about other stuff. Now, first thing I want to talk about, you guys, there are two players that have been recently linked to the Miami Heat. One of them hasn't really, but I want to talk about two guys. Now, the first guy I want to talk about again is Christian Wood. We've talked about Christian Wood a couple times in the last few weeks. I even cut a short just about him. For those of you that haven't seen it, go back and watch that video. But a little update. So yesterday, it was reported by NBA Central that Christian Wood has mutual interest in joining both the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. It does seem like Chicago may be the front runner simply because they have that $10.2 million exception from Lonzo Ball's injury. So they can actually offer more money to Christian Wood than the Miami Heat can. All the Miami Heat has right now, you guys, is that minimum contract of about $2.8 million. Chicago can offer Wood up to $10 million. So right there, Chicago does have the advantage. You can say what you want about state income taxes. Doesn't matter. Chicago's amount will be more than Miami's. But here's why I feel that Miami could actually be the front runner. Christian Wood, it was reported that from his camp that he's waiting to see what happens with this Damian Lillard situation. I think that's a little up and down. I think there's really two reasons on what's going on. First and foremost, I don't think he has a lot of interest from a lot of teams. We've talked about this before. With Christian Wood, yes, you get great offensive presence, you get a great rebounder, you get a three-point shooter. He lacks hugely on the defensive end. I've heard a lot of issues about his attitude. He had a lot of issues with the Dallas Mavericks this past season. So that takes into account and it takes into a factor. Doesn't matter how good you are offensively, you guys. You can make all the threes that you want. If you're not a team player and you can't hustle on the defensive end, teams don't really want you. Now, the reason why this might work for the Heat, though, you guys, is because after we trade for Damian Lillard, we may have some spots available. We're definitely going to need some help with the offensive end, which Christian Wood brings. He'd be a great addition to start right next to Bam Adebayo at that 4 spot. 6'10", 230 pounds. He can rebound. He can score at will. And remember, like I've said, you guys, Bam Adebayo is the type of defender that he can guard positions 1 through 5. So he can easily switch off. We have the zone defense. There's a lot of ways that we can make up for Christian Wood's lack of defense. I fully trust that a starting lineup of Bam Adebayo, Christian Wood, Jimmy Butler, Josh Richardson, Damian Lillard possibly, that's a banger right there as a starting lineup. So I do know that the Miami Heat do have mutual interest in Christian Wood. I know that they may be able to work on him with certain things that he's lacking. And if there's any organization that can fix that attitude problem, you guys, it's the Miami Heat. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that Christian Wood is kind of similar to Hassan Whiteside's attitude. And if we remember anything about Hassan Whiteside, at one point when he was here, we had his mind right. He was the best defensive player in the NBA at one point, led the league in rebounds, led the league in blocks. When he was committed, he was a great player. It's just when Bam Adebayo started ascending, this bitch got on his feelings and he just stopped working hard. That's not something you can control. So hopefully Miami can do really good work with Christian Wood. And let's remember another thing, you guys, and I've mentioned this before. Another reason why I feel Christian would prefer to come to the Heat. Now, yes, he can play with Chicago, but he's going to have a lot of people to compete with. You got Lonzo Ball, you got Zach LaVine. Lonzo Ball's not going to play, but they have a lot of guys there that kind of control the ball. DeMar DeRozan, you got guys that are ball dominant. I don't think Christian Wood would work 100% with Chicago, but you never know. They can pay him the most. He can figure it out. Chicago may be a pretty good fit. But the reason why the Heat is a great fit for Christian Wood, we can make up for his defensive lack. And it's like I've said with Josh Richardson and Thomas Bryant, you guys. If Christian Wood comes to the Miami Heat on a minimum, prove it to me contract, he balls out with the Heat. He has a decent, good or great season. He shows up in the playoffs and he has a few great games. Wins a championship. This is Bruce Brown, you guys. We've talked about this. Bruce Brown won a championship with the Denver Nuggets. He had a few good games in the playoffs. What did it get him? 2 years, $42 million. That's what guys like Josh Richardson, Thomas Bryant, and possibly Christian Wood can do by taking these minimum contracts. It's similar to Dion Waiters in 2016 when he was here, guys. He came here on a 1-year deal, and he basically said, double down and bet on myself. And he did. And it paid off. He got a 4-year, $44 million contract from Miami. We're not going to talk about specifics. We're just going to talk about that. That's what guys like Christian Wood, Jay Rich, and Thomas Bryant are thinking. Go to the Heat, have a banger year, win a chip, and go get paid somewhere else. Everybody is seeing what Bruce Brown did. Genius. Genius. So this will benefit us because it's like we've said, you guys, 2024 is the year. We lost in the NBA Finals in 2020. We lost in the Eastern Finals in 2022. We lost the NBA Finals last year. This is similar to the Detroit Pistons story in the 80s. The Pistons were that team that everybody thought was going to get over the hump, but there were two problems. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Pistons lost to the Celtics multiple times. They finally beat the Celtics in 88, going to the finals against Magic Johnson in 88. Losing. Then in 89 and 90, they win back-to-back championships. Sometimes you got to go through the struggle to reap the rewards. And that's what this Miami Heat team is doing, you guys. So I really feel confident, and especially if we end up trading for Damian Lillard. I'm not saying that we're going to win 100%, but we are definitely the favorites. Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Josh Richardson, hopefully Christian Wood. You got Caleb Martin, Kevin Love. I mean, this team, it's going to look great. We just need to see how we look like after the Damian Lillard trade. And apparently Christian Wood is going to wait because there's not really a lot of suitors. I don't think he's going to be threatened of losing that contract from Chicago. Their free agency's pretty much dried up. So we're waiting for this Damian Lillard trade, and then you'll see little filler signings here and there. Another guy that I want to talk about, you guys, this guy's been linked to the Miami Heat now for like 13, 14 years. Rudy Gay. Yesterday, Rudy Gay was released from the OKC Thunder. He was recently traded there for scrap. But the OKC Thunder waived him, so now he can sign with any team. Now, I don't know if you guys remember when I mentioned this a few weeks ago. Miami not only has minimum contracts, they also have trade exceptions. What can you use a trade exception for? You can use it as a part of a trade to help you out with finance, but also you can use it to sign a waived player. Miami Heat has 3 trade exceptions. One for $4.8 million for the Dwayne Dedmon trade last year. One for $7.6 million for the Max Strus trade. And another one for $9.5 million for the Victor Oladipo trade. Now, the Heat usually let these trade exceptions run out, but you can use that exception to pick up a waived player like Rudy Gay. Now, he's 36 years old. He averaged 5 points, 3 rebounds, and assists last season. His numbers don't blow your mind, but what is Rudy Gay? He's a veteran. He's experienced. He's a winner. He can help you in certain games. He's not going to give you 82 games. He'll play somewhere from 50 to 60 games. But he can give you productive 10 to 15 minutes. Especially, you guys, we all know Jimmy Butler's not going to play 82. Jimmy's going to play anywhere from around 50 to 60 games, 65 maybe. So there's going to be games that we're going to need other people to step up, like Caleb Martin to start. And when Caleb Martin starts, you need a backup for Caleb Martin, similar to what he does for Jimmy Butler. So whether that's Jamal Cain if he steps up, or if you bring a guy like Rudy Gay, or if it's Duncan Robinson, Spoelstra's going to have a lot of avenues. I like Rudy Gay signing in this Miami Heat. I think it's all the benefit in the world. It's very similar to bringing Goran Dragic. Now, Goran Dragic is another guy that I want Miami to bring back. I know Gogi is waiting for this whole situation to fill out. Now, I want to mention something to you guys on why the Heat has not made any other signings. I've been asked this question a lot in the comments. I feel it's best if I break it down here. The Miami Heat have 13 roster spots filled. You can only have 15 in the NBA. So what the Heat are doing is they're holding to see what happens with this Damian Lillard trade. Because it's possible that the Heat only get Lillard. So they'll have one more spot available. But chances are they might get Lillard and Yusuf Nurkic. If that's a possibility, then you're going to fill out your roster. Now, Miami's probably not going to send just 2 players in this trade. You're probably going to send a combination of Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Nikola Jovic, first-round draft picks, maybe even another filler. So if the Heat send out anywhere from 3 to 4 players, you will have some roster spots available. So with those roster spots, you can get a guy like Christian Wood, Rudy Gay, even Goran Dragic. I've mentioned this before, you guys. Having Goran Dragic in this team is a no-brainer. He fits the system. He has a great relationship with guys like Spo, Butler, Bam Adebayo. He's been here for 7 years, and he is that voice presence that we need in the locker room. He's going to be that guy that when he speaks, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo will allow him to talk. I've mentioned this several times. Kevin Love is the deepest veteran that we have on this team. It'd be great to have Gogi back, maybe even Rudy Gay. But if you're asking me who I prefer between Rudy Gay and Christian Wood, if we had one roster spot, then Christian Wood all the way. This is an advantage the Miami Heat should definitely take. If you're able to get Christian Wood for the veteran minimum, no brainer. Doesn't matter how bad he is defensively. Spoelstra will figure it out. Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. And let's not forget, he knows how to develop players. He knows how to bring out the best in players. Christian Wood sees that, you guys. I'm sure Christian Wood is probably telling himself, do I make a little bit more money in Chicago and continue this trash career with all this negativity being sprayed on me? Or do I go to Miami, get that trip, reevaluate myself, and boost my value? Let me know what you guys think in the comments about Christian Wood, Rudy Gay, or Goran Dragic. If you had your pick for, let's say 2, give me 2 out of the 3. Christian Wood, Rudy Gay, Goran Dragic. If you had to pick 2, who would you pick on this team? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much for the love and support, you guys. Yesterday's video was another banger. I'm loving the comments. I'm loving the likes. But please, you guys, take a moment and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We on the road to 2K subscribers, almost at 1,500. Y'all the real MVPs helping your boy out. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments, you guys. You know I respond to y'all. We a community. We a family. I love y'all. Take care. Have a blessed day. Ernest out. That's enough said.